goals as they go in both in England and Scotland, up and down the leagues, and in the Cup as well this afternoon. Let's just go to Ascot. We said in our preview it could be a big day for John Gosden, and John Hunt, it has started that way.
Yes, indeed, a flying start for John Gosden and Frankie Dettori here. The Long Distance Cup has just been won by the remarkable Stradivarius, the even money favourite. Remarkable because he remains unbeaten, 5 from 5 this year. Earlier on in the summer, he won £1 million bonus for scooping all the big staying prizes. He's added to that here a £300,000 win for Stradivarius. It wasn't without incident, though. He's drifted across runner-up Thomas Hobson in the closing stages. We're just wondering whether a steward's inquiry might well be caught. But what a start for Gosden, with superstars Lati Da, Roaring Lion and Cracksman still to come. Stradivarius kicks off his afternoon in style.
We're at Ascot throughout the afternoon. Blackburn 2, Leeds 1 in the Championship, and just over 15 minutes to go at Ewood Park. And back to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea, a goal to the good against Manchester United. Hopefully the weather is just right in the second half for Matthew Upson and John Murray.
It's lovely, the weather here. Absolutely glorious. Nobody's complaining.
Both coats are off now.
Both coats off.
Yeah. No rain.
You had 2 coats on, John.
We each had a coat on.
Oh, right.
Right. No substitutions at half-time. So Chelsea, as they were, with Kepa in goal as the second half gets underway. Manchester United kicking off. Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Luiz and Alonso. Midfield of Jorginho, Kante and Kovacic. Then Willian, Hazard and Morata. And Manchester United with De Gea in goal. Young, Lindelof, Smalling and Shaw. Pogba and Matic. Rashford, Mata, Martial and Lukaku. And as we mentioned in the first half, I think it is worth just highlighting again that Ashley Young and Matic are on yellow cards for Manchester United, while Rudiger, the goal scorer, and Hazard were booked in the first half for Chelsea. Chelsea leading through that 21st minute header from the German international Rudiger, and in the half of the pitch that is covered in sunshine, De Gea clears, comes back at the defence of Manchester United, but Morata was coming from an offside position. So Matt Upson, what do Chelsea need to do in the second half? What do Manchester United need to do?
Well, I think much of the same from Chelsea, which may be a reason why they were out so early after half-time. They were probably out 2 or 3 minutes before Manchester United, in their formation, ready and waiting for the game to kick off again, knowing exactly what they're doing. It's going to be interesting to see how Manchester United switch up their approach to this game. They need to do something different.
Nice from Jorginho, through to Morata, turns onto his left foot and shoots low, but De Gea is able to go down. That was a chance for the Spanish international. I was expecting him to whip it high into the net, too close to De Gea.
I wasn't. I mean, this is the main reason why Morata's in the team today ahead of Giroud, because he likes to get in between the lines, but it's so easy for him just to receive the ball there. Lindelof's 5 yards away. Matic runs way beyond the play. He swivels and left foot. He almost drags the ball into the floor. He should do better there and score, Morata.
I know that Manchester United came from 2-0 down in the last match they played against Newcastle, but I think if Chelsea had gone 2-0 up there, I'd struggle to see Manchester United coming back from that in this game.
I completely agree, John.
Here's Pogba driving forward, little flick infield or to the outside to Mata, but Azpilicueta got there first, and now here is Kovacic running with the ball, gives it out to the left-hand side to Hazard, coming in from the angle into the penalty area. Still Hazard, the ball comes to a halt. Hazard then back towards Jorginho, who set up that chance for Morata, but Jorginho's lift over the top bounces through to De Gea.
That's what I like about Hazard. He gets into these areas and he will look to hurt a team as much as he can, but if it's not on, he's very composed, he has a touch and he just lends it easy.
Now Mata trying to cushion a pass through to Rashford on the right-hand side, but Alonso was able to get there first and intercept. So Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. Already Morata with that opportunity to score for Chelsea, but De Gea making the save. As Mark Chapman mentioned, Blackburn are now leading Leeds by 2-1 at Ewood Park. England won the 4th one-day international against Sri Lanka on the Duckworth Lewis method, and the Munster-Gloucester game is underway on 5 Live Sports Extra. Here's Hazard on the left-hand side, shoots from the angle, but it's straight at De Gea, who's able to just clutch it in front of his bended knee. Went past Ashley Young, and Hazard has gone down and is holding his ankle.
Yeah. As Hazard just went on the outside of Ashley Young there, he dropped his shoulder, that little turn of pace that he's got, just got the wrong side of Young. Ashley Young made a decent challenge to come out, didn't foul him, but as Hazard shot at the goalkeeper, he's just followed through on Hazard's standing leg, and as he's hit the floor, Young's made contact, and looks to me like he's just, rolled his ankle slightly. Looks to be okay, but definitely a wobble of the ankle ligaments there.
Just getting to his feet now. Little hobble from him. Now he's on his feet and limps away. I think he's okay. Gets a slap on the head, a friendly slap on the head from the right glove of David De Gea. But there we are. Chelsea look as though they've come out with intent in this second half to get the second goal that we've been talking about.
Absolutely, they want to put this game to bed and put their dominance into goals, really. But having looked at Manchester United, you mentioned about what they have to do. They look like they've just started to put a bit more pressure higher on up the pitch, not allowed Chelsea to have time and space on the ball and to get into their groove.
Ball through the middle for Morata, but the offside flag is up against him. Took a bang on the head against Smalling. Referee Mike Dean says just carry on, Manchester United in possession. Matic to Pogba, who was lost by Rudiger for the only goal of the match so far. Matic through the middle to Lukaku, turns it back to Mata, and Mata first time ball to Rashford on the right hand side. Rashford against Alonso, tried to go down the line, turned and then gave it away to Kovacic. He was trying to find Mata, but the pass was misplaced, and then Rashford is pulled up for a little tug on Hazard, and it's a free kick to Chelsea in front of their own penalty area. It's taken quite a while for a number of the spectators to get back to their seats. We're already 5 minutes into the second period on this sun-kissed afternoon in West London. Can see tower blocks and rooftops away through the little gap to our right, with Eden Hazard attacking towards the Matthew Harding stand to our right. Hazard, the ball at his feet. If he did take a nasty knock there, no signs of it now. Chelsea with Kante, who's playing his 100th match for Chelsea this afternoon. N'Golo Kante, Azpilicueta, back to the Centurion Kante, and now back towards the halfway line. It's not a bad CV, Kante, is it? Premier League winner in 2016 and 2017, World Cup winner, FA Cup winner. Here's David Luiz into the penalty area, tries to flip it across, but deflected off Smalling and behind for a corner to Chelsea from the left.
I mean, a piece of brilliance from Eden Hazard, just holds up Ashley Young, back heels it through Young's legs. The interesting thing, Hazard then spun for a ball from Luiz, and if it had just seen him, he could have just slid the ball square, and Hazard it would have been a great finish to a very clever move.
If someone had been playing that to Hazard, I have a feeling that might have been 2-0 as well. It is still only 1-0. Matt Upson with us on BBC Radio 5 Live. Corner. Chelsea scored from their other corner of the match so far. United need to be on it here. Into the near post, headed away by Smalling. It was just over the head of whether it was Alonso or Rudiger. And Manchester United just clear it away downfield, and Chelsea have got possession back with their goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga, who has not had a save to make.
No, I mean, I was saying before, he's had a very quiet start to his Chelsea career, and that's a good thing for a young goalkeeper. You can't picture many mistakes or many bad things, but I've not seen him massively under pressure yet in this match.
Yep, just 24 years old, Kepa. Chelsea with Jorginho back to the vastly experienced David Luiz, 31 years old now. Now Morata drops towards the halfway line. Giroud only on the substitutes bench for this one, but Morata had scored in his previous 2 games, and as we mentioned in the first half, Morata came on as a substitute for Spain on Monday, whereas Giroud played the whole match. That might have been a factor, as Martial is tripped, free kick. Willian caught him, and then actually Martial caught Willian, who is just limping a little bit, and then that's a poor ball through from Pogba. He was looking for the run of Rashford down the far side, but overhit it through to Kepa.
But we talk about these decision making of low percentage completion passes, high caliber passes that Pogba's looking to hit. Manchester United need to get a grip in this game, get possession of the ball, and start to control the match.
Alonso's cross has gone a long way, and Shaw knew that Willian was arriving behind him at pace, just turned it into the fullback position to himself, and Shaw clips it long and high forward towards Lukaku, who's not had a sniff in the game. Romelu Lukaku, well, he had the first half header that he nodded 5 yards wide. Pogba turns on the halfway line, manages to poke it infield towards Lukaku. Lukaku lifts a pass out towards the right hand side to Rashford, who pulls the ball down, but Chelsea are able to get back into position. Manchester United halfway inside the Chelsea half. Matic back to Rashford, and now back to Ashley Young again. Ashley Young takes a couple of touches, low ball in towards Lukaku. Mata on his left foot, square to Pogba, 25 yards out. Pogba now to the left hand side to Shaw. Shaw's curling cross has gone a long way, it's headed down by Alonso. Shot from Mata is saved by Kepa. Back to Mata, he crosses to the back post. Luiz got his head to it, and then it's nodded away, but only out to Young, who drives it across. Martial controls and scores. Equaliser for Manchester United. The first sustained period of pressure that they've had. It fell to Martial, he knocked it up, buried it with his right foot, and it's Chelsea 1, Manchester United 1.
I mean, what's interesting, just as he's receiving treatment, is that Marcos Alonso was laying on the floor for the majority of that Manchester United piece of pressure. He picked up an injury in the initial clearance. Shot goes in for Mata. It's a sharp save from Kepa down to his right, and Alonso is still laying in the 6-yard box, needing treatment. The ball comes back into the box. Rudiger almost goes to sleep here. Whether he's not or not he's distracted by Alonso, I don't know, but he doesn't pick up Martial. The ball ricochets into his path right on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's a simple smash just down into the bottom left-hand corner. Alonso still on the 6-yard box line getting treatment, but Manchester United have a lifeline in this match.
It's 1-1, and Alonso still receiving treatment. And how much that affected the Chelsea defending in the build-up to the Martial goal. Mike Dean's just saying to Alonso, you're going to have to leave the field now before you come back on.
But I don't understand. I mean, he's up on his feet, he looks fine. If you're going to lay in your 6-yard box, you'd better be really hurt, John. You know, you make that clearance, whether or not he wanted a foul or he thought he should have been fouled. The moment you're not getting up, you've got to get back up on your feet unless you're not capable. If you're seriously injured, I understand, but you cannot lay on the edge of the 6-yard box like that.
And Martial having equalised for Manchester United as Chelsea now kick off. Alonso is back on the field and gets a touch. So Chelsea scored with their first attempt on target. Manchester United score with what actually was their second attempt, because Mata's shot was saved in the build-up to the goal.
It's a smart save that from Kepa.
It was. Rudiger clears away, and Manchester United attacking towards the end where all of their supporters are lifted by that. Pogba is going to shoot on the turn from 25 yards, but bends it wide of the top corner.
It's what you want to see, isn't it? You want to see Manchester United players with a bit more confidence, a bit more drive. Pogba there, nice little Cruyff turn. OK, he's 25 yards out. The ball goes high and wide, but it's about the intent. They need to start putting pressure on Chelsea, and now they have the goal. They can get themselves back in this match.
And that's the first goal that Jose Mourinho, Manchester United side, have scored against Chelsea here at Stamford Bridge. Handball, which was deflected after Kante knocked it into Shaw, so it's a free kick to Chelsea, 10 yards inside their own half. That goal coming in the 55th minute of Mourinho's fourth visit here in League and Cup as the Manchester United manager. Willian, a flick from Hazard, but now the flicks are falling to Manchester United players, and Lindelof is able to play it all the way back to goalkeeper De Gea, who passes it out to Ashley Young, who'll get an assist for that goal. It was Young who drove it across, took a deflection, and then hit Martial really, but it bounced up nicely for him to drive in from 7 or 8 yards. And then Luiz is across to plant the ball into the middle tier on the far side for a throw into Manchester United, level at the edge of the Chelsea box. The goal has certainly lifted Manchester United, Matt.
Oh, it really has, and I know a goal can do that, but it's just concerning that you need that goal in order to get that lift, to have that spring in your step, to make that slightly more aggressive choice. Manchester United now look in that mindset.
Throw in that Young takes, bounces into the penalty area. Luiz is able to easily beat Lukaku to it, chest it down, but Luiz's clearance bounces back to him, and then right-footed, he just hits it straight out of play halfway inside the Chelsea half. Just wobbling a little bit at the moment, Chelsea. Young recovers the ball from in front of the ever-changing advertising hoardings, and Ashley Young walks to the edge of the pitch, takes the throw. And then rather carelessly, Juan Mata coming back from an offside position, so Chelsea have a free kick in their own defensive third. So it's 1-1 here at Stamford Bridge. We have West Ham Tottenham to come on 5 Live. As ever on a Saturday afternoon, you can listen to the Premier League commentaries here with us on 5 Live. You can read about it on the BBC Sport website. Get involved at 5 Live Sport on your social media. In Sports Report after 5 o'clock. And it's a busy today. We'll have lots of players and managers on live, talking to Mark Chapman and our reporters around the country. 6:06 to talk about it with Jason Mohammed and Robbie Savage later, and then the highlights on Match of the Day tonight at 10:30, or in the morning at 8:30. And now, of course, we have the new revamped 5 Live Football Daily podcast to round it all up for you as well. Chelsea playing it through the middle. Here is Willian. Now Morata, back to Willian. Willian approaching the penalty area, to his left, to Hazard. Hazard into the area, up against Young again. Still Hazard with the ball at his feet, shoots on the turn, takes a flick off Young. Corner to Chelsea.
Lindelof did well there. He saw Ashley Young one-on-one backing into the penalty area. He got out, he got alongside Ashley Young. He's going to need that for the rest of the game. He's on a yellow card. You do not want Hazard facing you up by yourself in that area. You have to get out and support Ashley Young there. Well done, Lindelof.
Still Blackburn 2, Leeds United 1 in the Championship at Ewood Park. 12 o'clock kick-off that one. Corner to Chelsea then. Here it is to the near post. Shaw is there to hop and head away to Jorginho. And then Willian back. And Jorginho takes it up again. The Italian international who was born in Brazil, Jorginho. Now Hazard again on the left-hand side. Hazard beats a couple of men, takes on Matic. Willian joins in, and the ball is stabbed away by Ashley Young. Quickly back on his feet because Chelsea are in business again. Kovacic approaching the penalty area. Willian challenged by Pogba. That's a good challenge. Ball runs away though for the blue shirts of Chelsea. Alonso tripped by Mata. Free kick to Chelsea out on the left-hand side.
The tackles just look a little bit sharper from Manchester United, John. They look like a little bit more edge. Their tails are up. They're getting a little bit closer to Chelsea and putting them under more pressure in the ball. Here's
Hazard again. 1-1 the score, 5 Live. Hazard into the penalty area. Young one way, then the other. Oh, Young puts in the challenge and takes the ball behind for a corner. It's one of those where as Young went in there, you wonder, is the ball going to disappear here and he's going to take his legs? But no.
Got a little bit panicked there, John. You thought the worst was going to happen, didn't you? But he actually timed it quite well and just did enough to put Hazard off.
Worst or the best, depending on your perspective. Chelsea with the corner. In it comes, headed away. Kovacic, air kick from him. Shaw with the header, and then it's nodded further away by Shaw and Rashford. Oh, and Matt has done well to steer a bouncing ball to Rashford on the right-hand side. Rashford just slows because there weren't many options, and then drives a pass towards the edge of the area. But Azpilicueta was in position to head it down for Chelsea. Ball up for Chelsea towards Morata. Oh, Smalling was in quite heavily behind him. Down goes Morata. Free kick to Chelsea.
It's one of those that you'd call a good foul from Chris Smalling. He's just done enough to foul Morata. They're on the break, Chelsea here. Morata could be stronger. I think he shrugs it off and then kind of dives on the floor. I think he'd be better off taking advantage of the exposed Manchester United and trying to lay one of his fellow teammates in.
Oh, Hazard's ball is behind Willie. Oh, a poor clearance though from Smalling, and Chelsea are back in business again. Chelsea have recovered themselves after that little period following the conceding of the Manchester United goal. And now Hazard actually gives it away. Pogba's ball forward towards Lukaku. Lukaku is all on his own. Lukaku running at Luiz into the penalty area. Luiz just gets a little foot in as he was backpedaling. Lukaku though takes possession again, and then Luiz is in with a challenge to put it out of play near the corner flag for a Manchester United corner, their first of the half.
Well, their first of the half, and almost the first time I've seen Lukaku want to run into a channel. Found brilliantly, I have to say, but 62 minutes gone, he's finally stretched David Luiz and tried to expose him for pace. It's exactly what he needs to do. There's definitely a weakness there. He needs to do it more often.
Corner then for Manchester United. From out there on the right-hand side, Young thinks about Mata. 5 Manchester United red shirts inside the Chelsea box, and Mata runs away now to take up a position on the edge of the area. So Young's delivery, it's a driven deep delivery, looking for Smalling, headed away by Alonso, nodded back in by Shaw. Chelsea haven't got it clear. They have now though, as it's thrashed away on the volley into the centre circle by Morata. John Southall's just drawn my attention to a piece of Opta information which says Chelsea are unbeaten in their last 64 Premier League games at Stamford Bridge, in which they've been ahead at half-time. Last lost one of those matches in October 2011. But it's all square at the moment. Chelsea unbeaten here at Stamford Bridge in any competition since April the 1st. Shaw, the ball on the left-hand side. Shaw, then under pressure, just stabbed it out of play. Took a deflection, says the assistant. Jose Mourinho, black suit, Manchester United club crest on his left breast, suddenly appears and gives a little bit of advice to Luke Shaw. Got 25 minutes, just over 25 minutes to play. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 1. We'll have commentary from across London on West Ham, Tottenham, but all of the football up and down the country, all of the sport as well, the racing at Ascot, busy day of rugby union. We'll have all of it covered for you during the course of the afternoon. Manchester United defending here as Chelsea played towards Hazard. Flick finds the feet of Morata. Morata turns. Bisley gives the ball to Willian, but Shaw's in with the challenge. Now Willian. Shaw again. Just a little heavy with that challenge. And he helps Willian to his feet. They slap hands at least, and it's a free kick to Chelsea on the right-hand side. Willian's interested here, looking for perhaps one of those deliveries that he just drops over the defence into the danger area. Manchester United holding their line on the edge of the box. Mike Dean wanders across. David Luiz arrives on the scene. Rudiger is already up there. Morata at the back post. So here is Willian, who teases it in. David Luiz with a header wide of the foot of the post. 8 yards out.
Well, David Luiz, head in his hands. Any slight bit more of solid contact here, and it's a goal into the far post. It's so poorly defended by Manchester United. They've just allowed a huge gap for Luiz to run into. They've taken a zonal approach. They're in a line which is fine, but the moment you start to drop, you have to look for a man. You have to look again. You don't have to win the ball. Get your body into that player. Block him. Put him off his stride. Do anything. Luiz has a free run into the box and should score.
Yeah, they're not convincing at all, Manchester United, this season. I don't know whether it's all of the changes in central defence, whether that's a factor. Bailly on the substitutes bench today, but at the other end, Mata and Pogba. Mata trying to find a way through. And then he has caught Azpilicueta late. Mata, the red mist was down there for Mata. He was all action and industry. The ball was running away from him, and just as it ran away from him, Azpilicueta came in and he was caught late by Mata, and it's going to be a yellow card. It
was like pinball, wasn't it? The ball was ricocheting. There was about 5 or 6 bodies in and amongst the fray, and Juan Mata's just so keen to get hold of the ball. His tail's up. You know, there wasn't a lot of malice in the tackle, but he's just followed through on Azpilicueta and upended him. But the ball's ricocheting everywhere. It's very difficult then to know when to stop. You're so keen to win the ball, and he just goes straight through Azpilicueta, and it's a clear yellow card. Yeah, they're mates, you can tell. Yeah. As soon as they got up, Mata was all over him. They've had a little laugh about it. They've won trophies together at Chelsea, absolutely. Those two. And as we know, Cesar Azpilicueta is as good a professional as there is in the Premier League in the current time. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 1. What's happening at Ewood Park, Sohail Sahi?
Full-time, John. Blackburn 2, Leeds 1. Back-to-back league wins then for Blackburn. Both goals from corner kicks and both headed in from 6 yards away. Leeds equalised on the stroke of half-time, but they were second best for the majority of the match. Blackburn move up to 5th in the table. Full-time, Blackburn 2, Leeds 1. So Leeds United missed their chance to go back to the top. Still Dunstan 0, Gateshead 0 in the early kick-off in the FA Cup, as far as I'm aware. And there is still time to get out to a match in the 4th qualifying round of the FA Cup on a lovely afternoon like this. 1-1 here at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Here's Pogba now striding forward, opening his legs as he makes good ground deep into the Chelsea half. Pogba again puts his foot on the ball. Little ball into Lukaku, left side of the penalty area. Lukaku takes on Rudiger, crosses, but it's headed back out towards the Manchester United left by David Luiz. Martial now goes round to Azpilicueta, who is able to hold him off, and the ball runs over the white line for a goal kick. 1-1, Matt Upson. Very good play there from Manchester United. Lukaku coming and holding the ball in the 18-yard box. He almost spins and faces up Rudiger, who gives him far too much time, and much better from United.
And here comes the first substitution. I thought it must be imminent, and it is Kovacic who is going to be replaced by Ross Barkley. He's done well, Kovacic, today. There was a doubt over his fitness. And Ross Barkley is going to run onto the field after making his international comeback over the course of the last week. Started both of the matches in Croatia and in Seville on Monday night, after almost 2.5 years in between his 23rd and 24th caps. And I spoke to him in the tunnel actually on Monday night, in a sweaty, congested Spanish tunnel with Spanish radio aerials all around us, and I was talking to him about taking his opportunity, which, well, I think the general feeling is that he did do that back in the England team. So here he is, this Barkley renaissance,
and he's doing it very much in the Chelsea team as well, John.
Exactly, for club and country. So Chelsea making the first change. Here's Pogba, 1-1 the score. Pogba into Lukaku, but it was off balance there. However, he wins it back on the edge of the area. Jorginho's in, still Lukaku foraging for it, but it runs away, and Azpilicueta will pass it away. Manchester United pressing well here, and they've won it back, but Mata's misplaced pass. Alonso now, long ball downfield. That's asking a lot of Hazard, who can only hook it back in play, and then Young steers it back to goalkeeper De Gea.
Just look at the difference in Manchester United, in the pressure they're applying on Chelsea in their own half. You know, the Manchester United midfield are now starting to get up, not allowing Chelsea just to play out at will like they did in the first half and control the game. It's a far more evenly balanced match.
Gateshead are actually winning 3-0 at Dunstan. Dunstan 0, Gateshead 3. So that is very much going with the favourites to win that tie. You can watch it on the red button on the website or via the app. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 1 here on BBC Radio 5 Live, with Everton Crystal Palace to come tomorrow. That's tomorrow's commentary match. Then Arsenal on Monday night, and then Champions League commentaries Tuesday and Wednesday. Here's Willian, back to Kante, shoots, diving save, one-handed save by De Gea to his right, comes out to Alonso. That was a very decent save by the Manchester United goalkeeper, and then Alonso is bundled over on the far side by Rashford. Free kick Chelsea.
A really strong wrist from David De Gea. Looks a bit frustrated at the free kick they've just given away. It's a bit needless, but Kante lined up a shot. It was just going to nestle in that far post, and he got a very strong right hand just to parry it out wide.
You'd expect a goalkeeper at this level to make that kind of save, but he was able to parry it wide as well. Hit at pace by Kante, who's scored a couple of times against Manchester United in his Chelsea career. Here's Willian then with the free kick. Oh, he's straight down the throat of De Gea, who's able to catch it in front of his Adam's apple. So not quite down his throat. Underarms it out. We'll have a double change very shortly, and it's Ander Herrera who's going to come on for Manchester United, while Pedro is waiting to come on for Chelsea. Alexis Sanchez is there on the substitutes bench for Manchester United after coming on and scoring the winner against Newcastle. But as Jose Mourinho said in the build-up to this game, he's had a long journey back from Chile. He made his international comeback in midweek, Alexis Sanchez. Oh, Mata's done well. He's poked it away from David Luiz on the right wing. Mata, then infield to Rashford. Rashford takes a touch, sends it across to Martial. Curling shot, it's in! Martial has scored again, and Manchester United now lead by 2-1. And Chelsea, previously unbeaten in the Premier League under Mauricio Sarri, are possibly facing defeat to Jose Mourinho's Manchester United. What about this? Chelsea 1, Manchester United 2.
Well, it's just unbelievable how this game has swung. Juan Mata out of the far, so David Luiz commits himself to the ball and doesn't get there, ends up out of the pitch. It's great vision from Marcus Rashford to have a touch and see Martial on the left-hand side. I thought the opportunity was over because Martial actually has a very heavy touch here. It's not a great touch from him inside. It comes into him, it's on his right foot, he has a heavy touch, but he just uses Azpilicueta to bend the ball around him, almost just finding that far corner. Kepa is blinded by Azpilicueta, and I have to say the finish is exceptional. Right from the edge of the 18-yard box, he whips it just about a yard, almost an inch inside that far post. It's a fantastic finish from Martial.
It was a very good finish. Whipped it I mean, as you say, Matt, his first touch was terrible.
It was poor, wasn't it? I thought the opportunity was over.
But it actually set it up for him nicely because Chelsea were stretched. There was space that he could afford the bad touch because of the space.
Well, Azpilicueta then came out and he almost used his body as a marker, didn't he? And also it blinds Kepa as well. Azpilicueta's in the way and the ball has passed him in a flash.
What about David Luiz's role in all of that?
That's a poor decision, isn't it? If he doesn't feel he's going to get... I mean, it was with Juan Mata as well. You know, he's not the quickest player on the pitch, and to commit yourself in that situation and get nowhere near the ball and end up almost by the advertising hoardings on the far side of the pitch, it's a poor choice from Luiz.
It was poor. He was caught out. And somewhere, I imagine, the former Chelsea manager Antonio Conte will have been watching that and shaking his head and muttering David Luiz and something in Italian and how he needs to work harder. All words to that effect. So Manchester United leading here by 2-1. And after all of the doom and gloom for Manchester United, they've found sunshine in West London. Well, Pedro has been told to sit down by Maurizio Sarri. Manchester United are going to make their first change, and it's Juan Mata, who is very much involved in the second Manchester United goal, who's going to make way. And while United make that change, let's get the team news ahead of our 3 o'clock commentary on 5 Live from Ian Dennis.
Well, for West Ham United, they make 2 changes. The key news is that Arnautovic is fit and starts. The changes are Snodgrass for Obiang, and Cresswell replaces Masuaku, who's returned from DR Congo international action with a slight ankle problem. The 2 changes for Tottenham, as Eriksson makes a return to the bench. He's missed the last 4. Lamela replaces Son, and Danny Rose still hasn't recovered from that groin injury that saw him withdraw from the England squad. He's replaced at left back by Davis.
Thank you, Ian. Ian will be alongside Nigel Rio-Coca for the commentary from 3 o'clock. We'll have more 3 o'clock team news for you over the course of the next 20 minutes or so, but 2-1 Manchester United lead. Rudiger tries a shot from 30 yards, hits Pogba, bounces though to Barkley now to the edge of the area, and then he is challenged. And in actual fact, Barkley has picked up for the challenge on Rashford, and it's a free kick to Manchester United, but Barkley has come off worst in it. I think he's going to be okay. Incidentally, Pedro is on as well. Pedro on for Willian and Herrera on for Mata. So Chelsea 1, Manchester United 2. We have the team news in the match, in which the leaders, Manchester City, will be playing Burnley. Juliet Farrington.
Kevin De Bruyne is back, John. He's on the bench, though, alongside Raheem Sterling. Leroy Sané starts in place of Sterling. The second change is Vincent Kompany. Now he's in for Kyle Walker, who doesn't even make the 18 whatsoever. 2 changes for Burnley. Stephen Defoe replaces Ashley Westwood. Jeff Hendrick comes in for Ashley Barnes, with Barnes and Westwood having to settle for the Burnley bench.
Thanks, Juliet. Chelsea with Pedro. Barkley's okay, back on his feet. Here's Azpilicueta now. Azpilicueta 5 yards inside Manchester United territory. United supporters, as you would expect, in great voice. Anthony Martial scoring twice, so he's doubled his tally for the season. 4 goals for Martial. Chelsea coming forward. Here's Barkley. He's going to shoot. It hits Smalling, just 3 or 4 yards away from him. Now back to Morata. Just wondering whether we might be seeing Giroud, and guess who appears? Here's Alonso on the edge of the area, falling. Manchester United nip it away, and now Pogba standing up strong, and then in comes Azpilicueta. It's a foul by Pogba on Morata, and whether Giroud will come on now, I'm not sure. We have 12 and a half minutes to play, Matt. Chelsea chasing the game now.
Well, he's, you know, my feelings of Giroud he should have started the game in my opinion. I feel he offers more than Morata. Morata's had a very quiet game so far.
And the crowd, the Manchester United fans, singing the name of Mourinho. Free kick taken in. Alonso tries to drive it across, but just volleys it straight down into the ground and behind for a Manchester United goal kick. And we will see the change now. It is Morata being replaced by Giroud. And while they do that, team news from St James's Park. Big one for Newcastle Lace against Brighton. Will Perry.
Yeah, probably still hurting from being 2-0 up at Manchester United and losing 3-2. Rafa Benitez makes just 1 change. John Paul Dummett's fit again and replaces Javier Manquillo at left back. 2 Brighton changes from their win over West Ham. Jose Izquierdo comes in for Knockaert. Stevens starts in place of the injured Propper.
Big days racing down at Ascot, not too far away from us. Must be a glorious day there, John Hunt.
Yes, glorious for the bookmakers as well, because the sprint, John, has just been won by the complete outsider of the field of 14. Sands of Marley winning at 28-1 for trainer Richard Fahey and Paul Hannigan. Harry Angel second, Don Juan triumphant third. Former winner, the Tin Man, well beaten this time around.
11 minutes to play here at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea to rescue the situation. Trailing by 2-1. Manchester United win this, they'll be within 4 points of the top three. Here's Martial turning, he's on a hat-trick now, turning away from 2 Chelsea men, but then the ball runs away from him, and Azpilicueta is able to see it back to Kepa. David Luiz runs his fingers through his hair and then sets off downfield, approaching the halfway line. Lukaku in front of him, hits one of those long passes, but it bounces away through for a goal kick. Groans from the home supporters. And we have team news from Molineux, from Pat Murphy.
Watford make 4 changes, and a notable absentee also from the bench is Troy Deeney. Don't know if he's injured or not, we'll find out later. Gray is also one of the subs. Holebas and Kabasele are suspended. In comes Success, Deulofeu, Mariappa and Messina, and Wolves unchanged for the 9th consecutive league game.
Unchanged again, Wolves. Manchester United leading 2-1. Flick on from Lukaku. Herrera could be in, but out comes Kepa and is able to get something on it. And Chelsea looking really open and stretched at the back as they press forward. And that is leading to opportunities for Manchester United potentially to extend their lead. Matic now forward towards Lukaku. He turns. Pogba on the run. The pass is deflected, so Pogba has to race out into the full-back position up against Alonso. Pogba beats Alonso. Pogba pulls it back to Herrera. Kante in with a challenge, and he took the ball, and he had to.
Classic N'Golo Kante there. Brilliant midfield play, gets back. He's so incisive with his tackling, made great contact with the ball. It's an important tackle there.
Jose Mourinho appears on the edge of the coaching area as the ball runs out of play for a Chelsea throw, and actually reaches over the white line to slap Martial on the back. All of a sudden now this has got the feeling of a really important day for Manchester United, unless Chelsea can strike back. And Hazard now shoots, blocked inside the area by Shaw. The ball bounces down and Herrera is able to thrash it out of play for a throw.
Olivier Giroud with an instant impact there. Hazard loves just bouncing the ball into him. He's almost like a bounce board wall. He knows exactly where Hazard wants it back, and he just sets him time and time again.
The boos because Rashford is down on the far side, so the home supporters frustrated, and Mike Dean is pointing at his watch as he calls on the Manchester United medical people. But that gives us the chance to get the team news ahead of the Cardiff City Fulham match, which Alistair Bruce Bowler is another one that looks to have a great deal of meaning to it.
It certainly does. Cardiff start the day on 2 points, Fulham on 5. Aaron Gunnarsson makes a first appearance of the season for Cardiff as they go looking for this elusive first win. A timely return too. He's in for the suspended Joe Rules. Bobby Reid starts, Junior Hoylett drops to the bench, and as for Fulham, 3 changes. Chambers, McDonald and Johansson come in. Christie, Ongisa and Vieto drop out.
Marcus Rashford is still receiving treatment, and actually I noticed that Olivier Giroud has just run across there to where Mike Dean is standing over Rashford, as if to say, what's the delay?
Yeah.
Why can't we get Rashford off the pitch?
Yeah, hurry up and get him off if he can't carry on, get him off the pitch and let's get on with the game. They're stifling Chelsea's momentum at the moment.
And in fact, he is going to be replaced, Marcus Rashford, and he's walking from the far side of the... Well, he's walked almost halfway across the pitch, and now Mike Dean has told him to go back the other way and run off the pitch on the far side, closer to where he was being treated.
I actually think he's gone further than what it would have been just to walk over to the dugout on this near side touchline.
And he is going to be substituted, Rashford. Played a really important part in the second Manchester United goal, Rashford.
He did. Great vision to see Martial. But I have to say that the one player that we wanted more from in the first half, Martial, has stepped up and delivered in this second half so far.
Now Rashford's been led off the field on the far side.
It's Martial going on.
And Martial is walking to the side of the pitch here. Had they changed their mind? They thought Rashford was injured and was going to have to come off, and in the end they've taken off Martial. He and Mourinho are laughing about it. I bet they are. Here's Pedro on the right. Azpilicueta now crossing into short, bounces behind. for a corner to Chelsea from the right here, and Manchester United have brought on the young Brazilian international Andreas Pereira, the number 15. Hasn't seen much of a look in recent weeks. Corner though for Chelsea. Hazard to take this. Time running out for Chelsea. 6 minutes plus added time. Hazard's corner headed away by Rashford at the near post. Comes out for Chelsea. Jorginho back towards Azpilicueta. He lifts a high one foot to the edge of the area. A stretch and away. And referee judges that Pogba was shoved over, and it's a free kick to Manchester United in their own box. And now the final Manchester United change sees Alexis Sanchez replace Marcus Rashford, and the boos for Alexis Sanchez for his connections with obviously Manchester United, but also Arsenal as well, and what he's done to Chelsea in the past. And on he comes, having made his international return in Querétaro in midweek. I wonder what it's like there. Might be a nice weekend away. 2-1 Manchester United lead. Alexis Sanchez, who scored the thrilling winner against Newcastle, stretches and puts the ball out of play for a goal kick. Just over 5 minutes to play, Matt.
It's hard to believe that we're looking at 5 minutes to play and Chelsea are searching for an equaliser. You would never have called this at half-time. You know, Manchester United, in all credit to them, they've come out in the second half. They've just made a game of it. They haven't done much different, John. You know, they've just got more on the front foot. They've been more aggressive. They've pressed the ball higher up. And, I mean, look at the rewards you can get from doing that. And this is the Manchester United you want to see all the time.
Lindelof sends a long ball forward. Luiz heads it away, but only heads it out to Sanchez. Sanchez through to Lukaku, who had to find pace there. Actually back heels it to prevent it from going out for a goal kick. Chelsea passing it away from the back. I have a fancy there if Sanchez hadn't just come onto the field, he might have got the weight of that pass just right for Lukaku. As it is, he overhit it.
Yeah, those are the little details that if you've been sat on the bench, you're not quite up to that match speed. You might need one or two passes to get the feel of it, and just a slight little bit of pace off that ball. Lukaku was in on goal.
Chelsea 1, Manchester United 2, after Chelsea led for such a long time, from the 21st minute to the 55th. But 2 goals from Martial changed all that. He has Pedro hooking it back across. Hazard's after it. The defender, Matic, I think it was, who came in, just did enough to put Hazard off. Barkley, though, has it back for Chelsea. He plays it square to Azpilicueta. We've got 4 minutes to play. Pedro with the cross. Flicked from Giroud. Bounces across the penalty area. Ashley Young allows it to bounce again and then whacks it downfield to Lukaku. David Luiz comes in with a challenge. Lukaku, though. And then Pereira. Back to Lukaku, who flicks it out of play for a throw-in. Took a touch off Alonso, though. Frustration. He clatters it into the advertising hoardings. Manchester United throw, and they will not be in a hurry.
No, it's a big difference as well. Lukaku's turned up in the second half a bit more. He started to run behind and stretch the Chelsea back four. The ball's come into him, he's held it up. You know, it's an important role for him in that team. And when he goes missing, it's very hard for United to function.
United take the throw. David Luiz is able to come out with the ball and play it back to Kepa. Little ball out towards Rudiger. Scored the opening goal. But the match has dramatically changed in the second half. Up it goes towards Giroud. Might have been fouled by Smalling. No free kick. Then Matic is fouled by Barkley, and it's a free kick instead to Manchester United. Giroud picks the ball up, walks across to Mike Dean, pats it down into the ground. Frustration from him that he didn't get the free kick. And with that, with 2.5 minutes of the 90 to play, scores of supporters just in front of us here in the top tier of the main stand begin to head towards the exits. It's not over yet, though, not by a long way. How many late goals we see in the Premier League, and Chelsea have scored their share of late goals this season. Long ball forward, ball bounces into the full-back position to Azpilicueta. He volleys it only to Shaw. Now Herrera touch from him and by Alexis Sanchez. Alexis Sanchez gets it back, tried to win a throw-in off Kante. Kante, though, comes out with the ball, plays it up to Giroud, who had Lindelof all over him. Free kick, 10 yards inside Chelsea territory. Chelsea have taken a quick free kick. Mike Dean has allowed them to do so. Alonso is being closed down out there on the far side by Pereira. Comes back to Luiz. Now Kante. As Chelsea attack towards the Matthew Harding end. Here's Pedro. Pedro square to Jorginho. Jorginho to Kante. Just 90 seconds or so of the 90 minutes to play. There will be plenty of added time, at least 3 minutes. Barkley, square to Jorginho. Jorginho now to the right-hand side. West Ham Tottenham commentary to come. But there could be yet more drama in this game yet. Manchester United with Sanchez. United could win here at Stamford Bridge for the first time since Alex Ferguson was manager. The ball out of play, throw-in taken by Azpilicueta, back to Rudiger. Rudiger now quickly into the centre circle to Barkley. Barkley over the top of Pereira. Alonso, full tilt. Alonso drives it across on the volley to the back post. Shaw heads it away, and he's headed it to a Manchester United teammate. Sanchez is able to receive it from Herrera, but Sanchez has given it away. Chelsea now with Barkley. We are in the last minute. Barkley, Hazard. Hazard is challenged and beaten and dispossessed by Matic, and Matic is running the ball away downfield on this pitch that he knows so well, and he has in his mind the corner flag, and he just lays it forward to Pereira, who is challenged by Luiz, who wins a throw-in. We'll see very shortly Craig Pawson appearing down below us. Maurizio Sarri is there as well. He could be just seconds away from his first Premier League defeat as the Chelsea manager. Alonso against Pereira, goes round the outside of him. Young is there as well to prod it away. Young turns and appeals, cricket style. That final touch was off Alonso. Referee Dean isn't being fooled by that. Throw-in given to Chelsea by Alonso to Hazard. Barkley now back to Jorginho in the Manchester United defensive third. Back to Alonso. Alonso's ball in, stretch from Giroud. It was slightly behind him. Azpilicueta heads it down into the penalty area. Back to Azpilicueta, who lifts his shot high over the crossbar and most of the way up the lower tier. And 6 minutes of added time.
That's a lot. There's plenty of time. 6 minutes. I think the supporters are looking a bit bemused, but I suppose we did have a couple of long stoppages, but 6 minutes is plenty of time for this game to still have life in.
Yeah, we had 7 minutes in Seville the other night, and Spain nearly scored 3 times in added time. Manchester United leading by 2-1. Goal kick taken by De Gea. Sanchez wrestling with Azpilicueta. Bounces out of play, only a throw-in. Mourinho and Sanchez both have plenty to say about that. Be quite a turnaround this from Old Trafford. Last time Manchester United played with 20 minutes to play. Here is Jorginho. Now back to Rudiger, 30 yards out. Rudiger's curling ball is clipped away by Ashley Young at the back post. Young's done well, hasn't he, bearing in mind that he was booked relatively early on in the match up against Hazard. And now here's Lukaku out on the right wing. Pogba with a run through the centre, and Rudiger, I think, got a crucial touch on that pass from Lukaku from out wide. Otherwise Pogba would have been in.
I think he just put him off, John, didn't he? I don't know if he got a touch. He just put Pogba off there.
Pedro now to Alonso on the left-hand side as Chelsea sweep forward. His cross headed down and away by Smalling. This is the sort of scenario that Chris Smalling absolutely loves. This is where he's at his very best, as Luiz turns and plays the ball back to Kepa. So we've had almost 2 minutes of the 6 of added time. Chelsea come again. Hazard to Pedro. Pedro's ball into the near post to Giroud, and Lindelof put in the challenge, and it bounces behind off Giroud. Goal kick.
Lindelof getting plenty of high fives from his teammate here. He did very well. Giroud just pulled off his shoulder. He actually reacted quite late, Lindelof. Pedro squares the ball. It's a great ball across the face, and do you know what? He doesn't make much contact with the ball, Lindelof, there. And almost like Giroud stretching, he got his foot caught in the turf and went down. I don't think there was enough contact from Lindelof to reward Giroud with a penalty, but he definitely didn't make contact with the ball there.
No, I don't think there is enough for a penalty. So you have to say Lindelof did well, but Giroud didn't score for France at the World Cup and hasn't scored for Chelsea since before the World Cup. 2-1 to Manchester United, and almost 3 of the 6 minutes of added time played. Here's Sanchez as United break forward. Lukaku with his back to the penalty area, back to Sanchez, and a covering challenge comes in from, of course, Kante. Back to Kepa. He overarms it out. Alonso. Chelsea come forward again, up to Barkley. hooter honks somewhere in the background. Not sure where that came from. As Matic, though, couldn't find Lukaku, and now Jorginho has Sanchez arriving. He's fouled him. It's a free kick. That'll be a yellow card for Alexis Sanchez. Just wanted to stop Jorginho, and he was successful.
He took long on the ball, Jorginho, who's searching for. He wanted to play that forward pass. He knows he's only got a couple of minutes left. You can't hang on to the ball too long. He's got to release it early and try and find that pass for Chelsea.
Nervous times for the home supporters, with Manchester United leading here by 2-1. Great result, of course, for the other teams on 20 points. Hazard drives the ball across from the left-hand side from a tight angle. Not sure whether it was a shot come cross or whether he was looking to get a touch off Young. He failed in all respects. Goal kick, Manchester United.
I have to say, I think Manchester United tactically have been good this second half. Young has managed to get whoever's playing in front of him and Lindelof inside him to help him to double up with Hazard. He knows he's on a yellow card. I think he's handled that situation very well in this second half.
Well, plenty have suggested that Jose Mourinho may be being left behind, but they were 2-0 down at Old Trafford. He changed his system, he changed his personnel in their previous match. They won 3-2 thrillingly. Here, 1-0 down, 10 minutes into the second half. He has got injuries, he's dealt with it, and it looks as though it might well be 6 points out of 6 from a very unlikely position for Manchester United and Jose Mourinho. He's not finished yet, Matt.
No, you definitely wouldn't picture sitting here at this stage in the game and thinking, how can Chelsea get a draw here? You know, they were so dominant in the first half. It's a dangerous free kick.
Dangerous free kick, forward and left of the centre circle. Hazard will play it in. Lindelof comes and gets a header on it, unchallenged, out of play for a throw down the right. Almost 5 minutes of added time played, so just one to go. But Chelsea have a long throw. Azpilicueta in the sunshine is rubbing the ball on his blue shirt. Up to the white line he comes, throwing towards the near post, headed by Shaw, and the clearance from Matic comes out to Hazard, 30 yards from goal. Hazard picks out Azpilicueta. Oh, actually it was slightly behind him, but he did well. Now a left-footed cross hoisted in there. Luiz with a header, hits the post. Rudiger, what a save! It's in! Chelsea have equalised through Ross Barkley. There was a brilliant save in there from David De Gea, but Barkley was there, and in the 6th minute of added time, Ross Barkley has made it Chelsea 2, Manchester United 2. And I'm watching down, Jose Mourinho's involved in some pushing and shoving down near the mouth of the tunnel. I'm not sure what's going on there, and stewards are coming across, and some of the Manchester United coaching staff are there as well, and some of the Chelsea players. Rudiger has got involved, and Mourinho now. Mauricio Sarri is there. They are together, and the two of them are speaking together, and stewards are gathered around. The officials are coming too, and it's quite cordial between them. It's not pushing and shoving, and Mourinho walks back to his seat and sits down. So what on earth happened there, we won't know until we see a replay. But the most important thing is it's Chelsea 2, Manchester United 2.
I mean, I think somebody just said something to Jose Mourinho as they were walking down the tunnel, and he got very incensed, was up out of his seat, squaring up, and it all turned into a little bit of a melee. But it's calming down. But going back to the actual goal, which is the important thing here, David Luiz has come from nowhere. There's a ball kind of lobbed into the air, and the aggression in which he's attacked the ball, I mean, that's what's created the goal. It's a fantastic header from David Luiz.
Well, the pressure told. It hit the post. I'm trying to remember who it was. There was a follow-up shot that was brilliantly saved by David De Gea on the line, but he could only parry it. And Barkley arrived to score again for Chelsea. 2 goals in 2 games for him, for Chelsea. And still we're waiting for the restart. We've now played almost 7.5 minutes of added time, and we still haven't got the restart. And now there's pushing and shoving in the centre circle. Herrera is pushed away. There are 6 Chelsea players involved here, and most of the Manchester United players are milling around the centre spot. And Mike Dean's just backed away. The assistants come on the field from the far side, and Giroud's involved. Pedro's got the ball. David Luiz is talking to Ander Herrera, and it's all calmed down, although Giroud and Shaw have just half pushed at each other.
I feel like Mike Dean spent so much time trying to settle the difference on the sideline. He's ignoring the players on the pitch.
And someone said something to Jose Mourinho.
It was a celebrating member of the Chelsea staff ran past
in front of Jose Mourinho's coaching area, and he reacted to that. We've just seen a replay of that. Yeah. And Mourinho's on his feet. I'm not sure which member of the Chelsea coaching staff it was.
It definitely did look inappropriate to me. You can't run across the opposition technical area, jumping punch in the air, celebrating and gesturing towards them on a goal. I can understand why Mourinho would get upset about that.
It's Chelsea 2, Manchester United 2. Chelsea equalising in the 6th and final minute of added time. We have now played almost 9 minutes of added time. Well, I say we've played 9 minutes of added time. They haven't actually kicked off since the goal was scored because of the kerfuffle next to the tunnel and then the pushing and shoving in the centre circle. Manchester United still haven't restarted. Still Mike Dean just checking, and United get play back underway. We'll have to have at least a minute added on. Shaw bounces off him. Matic just drives it away downfield, and Kepa will field it in his penalty area. Jose Mourinho is standing, and there is the final whistle. And Chelsea, as Mourinho comes across and actually extends a hand to Maurizio Sarri, and the two of them talk. Chelsea past and present together, and it all is seemingly amicable, and Mourinho marches away now, not down the tunnel but across towards the shed stand that he knows so well, and applauds to the Manchester United supporters, and he is now raising 3 fingers to the Chelsea fans who have plenty to say for him. He's raising 3 fingers and pointing at the ground, so he's saying, I won the league 3 times here as the Chelsea manager, don't forget that. And then I think someone else has said something there as well, another member of the Chelsea coaching staff, and then Mourinho leaves the field. You cannot keep him out of the action, Matt.
It's impossible. In all fairness to him, in this situation, you know, it's so high, the atmosphere in the stadium, to have a member of the opposition staff run across the face of your technical area and celebrate in that fashion. I can see how you'd be a little bit incensed. I don't know if anything was said personally to him, but I can understand the reaction to a degree.
So Chelsea do go back to the top of the table, incidentally, 1 point ahead of Manchester City and Liverpool, and Manchester United, the victory snatched away from them at the end, and that means they have won only 1 of their last 6 in all competitions, but a very, very good second half from Manchester United.
It really was. I mean, they just came out with a totally different approach. You could see from the first 5 minutes they weren't going to allow Chelsea just to knock the ball around and control the game. They started to ruffle their feathers, put them under pressure in midfield, you know, get their team, get their back 4 higher up the pitch and have more of a chance. And a couple of the players, Martial in particular, turned up with a little bit of quality in the right place at the right time and made it count.
Thrilling second half. Chelsea 2, Manchester United 2, and doubtless we'll be picking the bones out of what happened at the mouth of the Stamford Bridge tunnel for the rest of the weekend.
And therefore that distracts from Manchester United conceding from 2 set pieces, does it?
Well, it is a distraction. I don't disagree with that, Chappers, but the only thing that I can look at, and you know, the phrase I used was hopeful at half-time when you asked me for a word. There always is hope in this team because it has such quality. And when you give players like Martial a couple of opportunities, I mean, his second goal was a fantastic finish. It was a great worked move, lovely vision from Rashford. When you've got that in your team, you've always got a chance. And OK, there were sloppy moments from Manchester United that they won't be happy about, but overall it's been a positive performance because of the second half. When you have the speed of Rashford and Martial and slightly the unpredictability of Pogba, who, you know, can be brilliant but can also at times cost you, the importance of Mata becomes even more acute, doesn't it? Because he can keep the ball. He can keep the ball, and he can see a pass, and he's got a lovely weight to his pass. I think that, you know, the player that you mentioned to me at half-time was Lukaku, and he was very absent in the first half. But you can see in the second half, just a couple of times, just some movement to run Luiz into a channel. I mean, he faced up David Luiz twice in the second half. It's still not enough for me, because he should be looking to do that all the time. But it's such a weakness for Chelsea to have Luiz against his pace. He should be wanting to expose that all the time. And you have Mata in there, who can weight those little balls, flick those little balls around the corner and put them into dangerous areas behind the Chelsea back four.
As far as Chelsea are concerned?
Well, you know, they when left to their devices to play their game plan, which they were in the first half, they're very dominant, they're very assured, they've got technically very good players, Hazard, Willian, Jorginho, all their midfield, very strong, and if you leave them to go about their business, they'll crucify you, and I felt they did that to Manchester United at times. But as soon as you put a bit of pressure on them, start to stretch their back four, then anything can happen. I was very disappointed with Alonso in the first goal. I just felt if you're going to be injured, you better be really hurt to lay on the edge of the 6-yard box like that. You know, it's got to take some knock for you not to get up in that scenario, and it really put the other players off, and you feel if he'd been up on his feet, he'd have dealt with that ball in that area.
One note on that tunnel melee at the end, John Murray. Mourinho was no doubt at all, from the pictures that you see, provoked by a member of the Chelsea backroom staff sort of backpedaling in celebration in front of him through his technical area, and the way Mourinho reacted, he must have said something as he got within earshot of Mourinho, but he already has an FA charge hanging over him, doesn't he?
Yep. And I suppose it'll depend on what, Craig Pawson will be the key man in there as the fourth official. You know, what he saw and heard down there will be absolutely critical in terms of how that one is sorted out. But I mean, good luck in straightening that one out, whoever's investigating it.
John Murray and Matthew Upson, thank you very much. Chelsea 2, Manchester United 2 at Stamford Bridge. West Ham against Tottenham to come from 3 o'clock, plus all the goals as they go in England and Scotland. Let's just switch to the Rugby Union, because speaking of discipline, there's been a big story in the Champions Cup this afternoon. Munster leading Gloucester 29 points to 3. James Burridge is going to be our man at Wasps against Bath. But the big story from that Munster-Gloucester game is that Danny Cipriani has been sent off, James.
Here we go again, Mark. These directives in European rugby about making sure that the players get as low as they can. We've seen so many cases of high shoulders making contact with the head, and Danny Cipriani is the latest to fall foul of this. He was trying to tackle Rory Skinnell in the first half. He had the perfect position for the tackle about a second before he made contact, but he rose too much. His upper body went up to try and absorb the impact, and in doing so, his shoulder has made contact with Skinnell's shoulder into head, and he knew it. Cipriani knew it as soon as he had done it. The referee, by today's standards, by the edict that European rugby's leading officials have come out and said, he knew that was a red card. If you speak to people in the game now, Mark, they are telling you that the inconsistency is driving them mad, because you only have to see what happened last week to Jamie Roberts and the Jerome Kaino incident.
Well, that was exactly what I said to our producers. Isn't that exactly the same as what happened last week?
Well, there you had more or less head-on-head contact, and yet the referee that time said he only gave a yellow card because he couldn't clearly see that it was head-on-head. He sent a yellow card to Kaino for recklessness. Then you've had the 5-week ban on Kaino, then that's being appealed by Toulouse. Then you have Bruce Craig, the owner of Bath, coming out in the last 24 hours saying, I want to take this result to the Court of Arbitration for Sport because the officials got it wrong. And just imagine what that puts what that puts in the mind of the referees this weekend, when you know that owners are taking it that seriously. They cannot afford to get it wrong. This is the new landscape in rugby. There is a fog over this, Mark, and it's not just this match between Gloucester and Munster. It's happened in the Exeter-Castres game when Marwan Vaipula has just been sent off. We've had 2 red cards already today.
I only watch Rugby Union. I've never played it, and sometimes the complexities of the rules go over my head a little bit, James. But just watching that Cipriani incident that I have seen today, and on Skinnell, there was another Gloucester player coming in to tackle Skinnell, wasn't there?
Yeah,
it was Did that alter Cipriani's body position at all? Because Skinnell was going lower than Cipriani.
Well,
I mean, if Cipriani had gone slightly lower, that would have been head-on-head, wouldn't it?
Well, this is the other thing, because you're talking about moments, inches of difference here. And yeah, you're absolutely right. The Gloucester hooker, I think it is, I'm watching the incident right now. He comes in with a swinging left arm around Skinnell's neck, and yet it's Cipriani who's the man who has been sent off. This is why it gets so confusing. I mean, who makes the initial hit? How is it judged by the referee? He's got to have that conversation with the TMO. Simon Halliday, the boss of EPCR, came out before the tournament started and said we were going to have zero tolerance about this, and players have got to get the message. And speaking to the coaches here, the Wasps Bath coaches, they know all about it. But then you have incidents like last week, and they don't know where the line is anymore.
So but the message is what? So if
the players have got to
message,
adapt.
But how does Cipriani adapt in that situation? Because the other thing I'm guessing is we're talking a split second here.
Exactly.
Aren't we?
We are. And that's why I said right at the top, he had the perfect body position. His knees were bent, his upper body was in the right position, but then literally a second before he makes contact with Skinnell, his body goes upright because he wants to stop the player getting through the gain line. And this is at the crux of the whole debate. It's about stopping momentum. It's about winning the gain line battle. And a year or two ago, that was fine. I mean, to an extent, because you were trying to stop the contact. The days in the 70s and the 80s when players used to tackle around the waist, get their head to the side and bring the player down. It's never been like that in rugby in the last 5 to 10 years. It's about winning that gain line battle. And what's happened now in the wake of these understandable concerns about player welfare, this risk of concussion, which is obvious, you can see it, is that the players are having to adapt to the tiniest of details. And this is another case. Cipriani is just the latest case of them getting it wrong, and he knew it. If you see the facial reaction on Cipriani's face, Mark, it says it all. He knew he got it wrong. And we're going to see more cases like it. This is only the second weekend of the Champions Cup. We've got a whole autumn international series to come. The players have got to be red hot on it, and that's why they feel it's unjust, it's unfair, because you have one weekend where there's one set of rules, and then you have another weekend where it appears to the players and the coaches that there's a different one, and it's consistency. That's all they're looking for.
And he apologised to Cipriani, to Skinnell, as he went off the field in the Munster Gloucester game. As far as the game you're at this afternoon, Wasps against Bath, there's so much we could talk about. We don't really have time. But for those
story.
Yeah, but those that were with us last week listening to Bath against Toulouse, probably the most important thing they need to know is that Freddie Burns starts this afternoon, and I'm guessing the Wasp public might have some fun with him.
Can you imagine the banter that's going to be thrown at him for his first kick, the first time he touches the ball? Yes, Freddie Burns does start at 10 today. That's because they're missing Reece Priestland. He's out for six weeks with an injury, and there are injuries all over the place in both these teams. You've got the Christian Wade story about him going to NFL. You've got Freddie Burns, of course, having to prove that last weekend is finished with, done with, put behind him, he can move on. And then of course you've got the Bruce Craig story about him wanting to take last week's game to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. That is severely unlikely, but this is high pressure stakes, Mark. European rugby is a step up, and it counts so much for both these teams, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, or whether you're an owner.
Thank you very much, James. So James will keep us across that game, and it is on 5 Live Sports Extra from 3:15. In fact, when Munster Gloucester finishes, they've got about 13 minutes left in that game. Munster 29, Gloucester 8. In the other game that's underway, where they've only got about 5 minutes left, it sounds like it's a cracker between Castres and Exeter. Castres leading by 29 points to 25. So in the early games over here, it's finished Blackburn 2, Leeds 1. It finished Chelsea 2, Manchester United 2. Ross Barkley with an equaliser in the 6th minute of stoppage time. Real Madrid in Europe have been beaten at home this lunchtime by Levante in La Liga. Real Madrid 1, Levante 2. And in the Bundesliga this afternoon, it is Stuttgart 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. Borussia Dortmund scoring within 3 minutes, and it came through Jadon Sancho, the England international. We are really late for the news, so we'll take that, and then we'll go around all our 3 o'clock games. Here's Faye Rusco at 20 to 3.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
Organisers say more than 500,000 people are marching through central London to demand a public vote on the final Brexit deal. The rally was organised by the People's Vote campaign. Turkey's promising to release all the details of what happened to the journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was killed inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. The Saudi Arabian authorities have admitted for the first time that he's dead, but say it was after a fight. The man known publicly only as Nick, whose allegations sparked a Westminster sex abuse investigation, has appeared before magistrates charged with lying to police. The 50-year-old is accused of 12 counts of perverting the course of justice and 1 count of fraud. And the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have attended the opening ceremony of the Invictus Games in Sydney. The event was delayed for an hour because of a thunderstorm.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, smart speaker, smartphone and tablet.
The M90 southbound is blocked from junction 6 at Kinross partially blocked from junction 6 at Kinross to junction 5. That's because of an accident. Traffic is very slow. In Belfast, the M3-M2 southbound is shut at junction 1.
Yeah, really surprising. I mean, Lamella's come on and made good impacts, hasn't he, in Europe and the Cup competition and in the Premier League. So he probably deserves a chance. Christian Eriksen, not 100% fit, as we know. So that one isn't such a surprise. But Sissoko, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Moussa Sissoko. I can't really remember the last time he produced a star performance, a stellar display that made you sit up and take notice. So for me, yeah, that is a surprise. What it might mean is that they have a narrower midfield today. It might be, as you described, a 4-4, like a 4-4-2 diamond, where Sissoko could be on one side, on the right. Probably Winks on the left of it, with Dyer holding and Lamela given freedom to go wherever. Because personally, I think Moura has performed far better as a strike partner to Kane so far this season. So that's how I see Spurs lining up.
Fabulous. More from Adrian to come then ahead of kick-off, which is about 20 minutes or so away, under the blue skies at the London Stadium. Coming up, we'll look ahead to the other games kicking off at 3 o'clock UK time this afternoon. Plus, you'll hear from Manuel Pellegrini and Maurizio Pochettino when we come back. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Eriksen just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the Ultimate Football Fan Tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah! Who who makes it 2 to Liverpool. One chance, one goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magicians.
Listen to the show